Now we will see national initiatives, policy concerning education of children with disabilities. First commission is the Indian Education Commission in 1964 to 1966. The Indian Education Commission was the first statutory body to suggest that the education of handicapped children has to be organized not merely on humanitarian grounds, but also on grounds of utility. The Commission also emphasized that the education of children with disability should be an inseparable part of the general education system. At the times when the Commission made its recommendations, there were less than 250 special schools in India. The Commission felt that services for children with disability were extremely inadequate and recommended the adoption of a dual approach, namely the provisions of special as well as integrated education to improve the situation. The Commission also specifically emphasized the importance of integrated education in developing mutual understanding between children with and without disability. Kothari Commission, the first education commission in India, Kothari Commission addressed issues of access and participation by all. It stressed a common school system open to all children is irrespective of caste, creed, community, religion, economic condition and social status. In 1968, the National Education Policy followed the Commission's recommendations and suggested the expansion of educational facilities for physically and mentally handicapped children and the development of an integrated program enabling handicapped children to study in regular schools. Second, National Policy on Education NPE in 1968. In 1968, the Indian government formulated the National Policy on Education for all government schools and articulated a need to integrate students with disabilities. It emphasized that whenever feasible, the education of children with motor handicaps and other mild disability should be provided in regular school. Third, integrated education for disabled children IEDC. In 1974, the Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment Government of India initiated the IEDC program to promote the integration of students with mild to moderate disability into regular schools. The state governments were provided 50% financial assistance to implement this program in regular schools. However, the program met with little success. By 1979 to 80, only 1881 children from the 81 schools all over the country had benefited from this program. Due to the failure of the IEDC scheme, it was revised in 1992. Until 1990, the scheme was implemented in 14 states. Kerala is the only one state that has shown remarkable progress in implementing this scheme. In Kerala, this scheme has been implemented in 4,487 schools and 12,961 children has been served under this scheme. Now we will see National Policy on Education NPE 1986. 2 decades later, the National Policy on Education stressed the removal of disparities in education while attending to the specific needs of those who had been denied equality so far. It stated that the objective should be integrated the physically and mentally handicapped with the general community as equal partners to prepare them for normal growth and to enable them to face life with courage and confidence. In 1987, to fulfill the provisions of disabled children in the NPE, the government launched the project of integrated education development. Wherever feasible, the education of children with motor handicaps and other mild handicaps will be in common with that of others. According to the NPE, the indicators of integration are the handicapped people enjoy the same rights as the rest, have opportunity for growth and development in environmental conditions available to the rest, have access to quality of life like any other citizen and are treated as equal in the community. The program of action outlined measures to implement the policy including massive in-service training programs for teachers, an orientation program of administrators, the development of supervisory expertise in resource institution for school education at district and block level, and provision of incentives such as supply of aids, appliances, textbooks and school uniform. Project Integrated Education for the Disabled PIED proposed in 1987, the Ministry of Human Resource Development in association with UNICEF and National Council for Educational Research and Training undertook Project Integrated Education for the Disabled. The aim of the project was to strengthen the implementation of the IEDC scheme. The NP underwent modification in 1992. It made an ambitious commitment to universal enrollment by the end of 9th 5-year plan for both categories of disabled children, those who could be educated the general primary school and those who needed to be educated in the special schools or special classes in general schools. It also called the reorientation of pre-service and in-service teacher education programs, the NPE 1986 and revised NPE 1992 are the guiding policies at the all level. The most notable pedagogical recommendation is as follows. Curriculum flexibility is of special significance for these children. Special needs for these children will be met if child centered education is practices. Child to child help in education of the children with disability is an effective resource in view of large classes and multi-grade teaching. District Primary Education Program DPEP 1994, a centrally sponsored scheme, the District Primary Education Program aims to reduce the overall dropout rate of the students enrolled in primary classes, to raise their achievement levels and to provide primary education for all children including with disabilities. This is probably the largest program of the central government in terms of funding. Then the Person with Disability Act, that is PWD Act, proposed in 1995, in that the Indian government had considered provision for children with disability to be a welfare issue than an educational imperative. The PWD Act proposed the provision of improved educational services, medical care, vocational training, employment and social security for all persons with disability. The Act further stated that whenever possible, students with disability should be educated in regular school setting. Section 26 to 31 of the PWD Act pertaining to education for the person with disability. Section 26, in that the appropriate governments and the local authorities shall first ensure that every child with disability has access to free education in an appropriate environment till he or she attains the age of 18 years. Second, endeavor to promote the integration of a student with disability in normal school. C. Promote setting of special schools in government and private sector for those in need of special education in such manner that children with disability living in any part of the country have access to such schools. Next point, endeavor to equip the special schools for children with disability with vocational training facilities.